Today, we're recapping Train to Busan, one of the most intense zombie survival movies ever made. The story begins near a highway toll booth, where workers wearing hazardous suits are disinfecting the area. When a truck driver asks what is happening, they casually claim there was only a minor leak at a nearby nuclear plant. As the driver continues down the road, he becomes distracted by his phone and accidentally hits a deer. He briefly checks the area before driving away. Moments later, the deer slowly rises from the ground. Something is terribly wrong. The animal is infected. Meanwhile, in Seoul, Seok-woo is a busy fund manager who spends most of his time working and very little time with his young daughter, Suan. Suan wants to visit her mother in Busan for her birthday, but Seok-woo initially refuses because of work commitments. Later, Seok-woo's mother shows him a video of Suan performing at a school recital that he missed because of his job. Feeling guilty, he finally agrees to take her to Busan and books tickets on the early morning train. The next day, while driving to the station, Seok-woo notices something unusual. Police cars and ambulances rush past them at high speed. As they continue their journey, Suan reaches out of the car window and catches a piece of ash floating through the air. Looking into the distance, Seok-woo spots a large fire and thick smoke rising from a burning structure. Although concerned, he ignores the warning signs and continues toward the station. At the station, they board the KTX train to Busan. Among the passengers are Sang-hwa, a strong and fearless working-class man, and his pregnant wife, Seong-kyung. Just before departure, a frightened young woman with a severe bite wound on her leg manages to sneak onto the train. As the doors close, the station manager notices people screaming and running in panic outside. As the train speeds toward Busan, chaos erupts. Through the window, Suan witnesses the station manager being violently attacked by an infected person. At the same time, the injured woman who boarded the train collapses. A train attendant rushes to help her, but it's already too late. The infection takes over, and she transforms into a zombie. The newly infected woman attacks the attendant, who stumbles into a train car filled with a high school baseball team. The two zombies attack most of the baseball team, quickly turning them into a massive horde of infected. The zombie horde rushes toward the upper train compartments, infecting everyone in its path. When Seok-woo wakes up, he finds Suan safe beside him. A co-worker calls Seok-woo and warns him that violent riots have erupted across South Korea. Soon afterward, terrified passengers from the lower compartments run past him, screaming in panic. Fearing that Suan may be in danger, Seok-woo heads in the opposite direction. He soon finds Suan standing directly in front of an approaching horde of zombies. Seok-woo grabs his daughter and runs as the zombies chase them. They barely make it back to their compartment. Seok-woo attempts to barricade the door, nearly locking Sang-hwa and Seong-kyung outside in the process. The survivors work together to block the entrance. However, they soon realize the zombies cannot open doors on their own. The infected only attack when they can detect nearby people. Seong-kyung solves the problem by covering the compartment windows with water and newspapers. Unable to see anyone inside, the zombies lose interest. Over the train speaker system, the conductor announces that the train will not continue directly to Busan. Instead, it will stop at Daegu Station. Seok-woo overhears Yeon-suk speaking with his business contacts about the situation in Daegu. He learns that all arriving passengers will be placed under quarantine. Determined to avoid quarantine, Seok-woo secretly calls a co-worker. He convinces the man to pick up him and Suan separately when they arrive. The train eventually reaches the deserted Daegu station. Passengers begin leaving the train. Only 4 students manage to escape safely: Young-guk, Jin-hee, and 2 other boys from the baseball team. Seok-woo directs Suan toward the east exit, where their ride is supposed to meet them. The homeless man follows Seok-woo after overhearing his phone conversation. The remaining survivors leave through the station's main entrance. As they move through the station, they spot a large group of soldiers near the bottom of an escalator. At first, they believe the troops are there to help. However, they soon realize the soldiers have already been infected. The survivors rush back up the escalator in terror. Several passengers are attacked, bitten, and transformed into zombies. In the distance, the survivors spot a wounded soldier staggering through the station. Seok-woo tells Suan to stay where she is and cautiously approaches the man. The injured soldier begs for help. Before anyone can assist him, a swarm of infected soldiers rushes around the corner. The zombies overwhelm the soldier and tear him apart. Realizing the danger, Seok-woo orders Suan to run. Seong-kyung grabs Suan's hand, and the two sprint toward the station platforms. Meanwhile, Sang-hwa, Seok-woo, Young-guk, and the other students battle their way through the growing horde. Fighting desperately, they force their way toward the train. As they retreat, Young-guk's 2 teammates are caught by the zombies. Both boys are bitten and quickly transformed into infected. At the same time, the glass ceiling above the train station shatters. Dozens of zombies fall through the broken glass and crash onto the train below. One of the zombies lands between Jong-gil and In-gil, separating them from each other. Jin-hee quickly pulls Jong-gil into a nearby compartment. From inside, She watches in horror as In-gil, Seong-kyung, and Suan flee in the opposite direction. Meanwhile, Seok-woo, Sang-hwa, and Yong-guk board one of the train compartments. When Sang-hwa calls his wife, he discovers that she and several others are trapped farther down the train. The only way to rescue them is to fight through multiple compartments filled with zombies. Without hesitation, Seok-woo, Sang-hwa, and Yong-guk prepare themselves for the dangerous journey. Armed with whatever they can find, they begin fighting their way through the infected. The three men smash, kick, and push through wave after wave of zombies. After an exhausting struggle, they successfully clear the first compartment. As they enter the second compartment, Yong-guk recognizes his former teammates among the infected. The sight devastates him. Unable to bring himself to kill his friends, he freezes. Sang-hwa orders him to stay back and leave the fighting to them. Together, Sang-hwa and Seok-woo continue battling the zombies. For a moment, it appears that the infected will overwhelm them. Then, the train enters a long tunnel. Suddenly, darkness fills the compartment. The survivors quickly discover that the zombies cannot see in the dark. The infected can only locate people by following sounds. Using this weakness to their advantage, the group moves quietly through the darkness. Their plan works. They successfully rescue the stranded survivors. Together, they race toward the front compartments of the train. Ahead of them are Yeon-suk, Jin-hee, and the remaining passengers. Yong-guk sends Jin-hee a message telling her that they are on their way. Excited and relieved, Jin-hee shares the news with the others. Instead of celebrating, many passengers react with fear. Terrified that the approaching group may be infected, they decide to lock the compartment door. As Seok-woo and Sang-hwa struggle to hold back the zombies from behind, Yong-guk desperately pounds on the locked door. The passengers inside refuse to open it. Time is running out. Seong-kyung realizes there is no time left. Sang-hwa tells Seok-woo to take care of his wife and the others. He decides to stay behind and hold off the zombies alone. Seok-woo refuses at first, but Sang-hwa insists. After a brief moment of hesitation, Seok-woo accepts his friend's sacrifice. Sang-hwa braces himself against the door and uses his strength to keep the zombies back. As the infected continue to push forward, he apologizes repeatedly to his wife. Before the zombies overwhelm him, Sang-hwa reveals the name he had chosen for their unborn child. Moments later, he is dragged away and devoured by the horde. Using the time he bought them, Seok-woo and the others finally break through the locked compartment door. The survivors rush inside to safety. However, In-gil is not fast enough. A zombie grabs her and bites her before Seok-woo can close the door. The compartment falls silent as everyone realizes what has happened. Filled with anger, Seok-woo punches Yeon-suk in the face. He demands to know why the passengers refuse to let them in. Yeon-suk refuses to answer. Instead, he claims that Seok-woo and his group may already be infected. His accusations spread fear throughout the compartment. The frightened passengers begin turning against the survivors. Despite everything they have done to save them, Seok-woo and the others are forced into the small hallway between the passenger compartment and the conductor's cabin. As soon as they are pushed out, Yeon-suk and the others secure the door. They tie shirts and neckties around the handle to prevent anyone from returning. Meanwhile, Jong-gil remains devastated by the death of her sister, In-gil. She sits quietly in shock, unable to speak. When she sees her sister's face among the infected outside, her grief turns into anger. She realizes that In-gil died because the passengers chose fear over compassion. Unable to bear it any longer, Jong-gil stands up. Ignoring the terrified passengers around her, she walks toward the compartment door. Before anyone can stop her, she unlocks it. The door swings open. Instantly, a flood of zombies pours into the compartment. The passengers scream in terror. Chaos erupts as the infected attack everyone inside. People desperately try to escape, but there is nowhere to run. From the hallway, Seok-woo and the others watch helplessly. They see shadows moving frantically behind the windows. Hands pound against the doors as passengers desperately beg for help. Within moments, the compartment is completely overrun. Everyone inside is either killed or infected. The survivors stand in silence, horrified by the tragic outcome. Over the train radio, the conductor receives an important update. Busan has successfully contained the zombie outbreak. It is now considered the last safe city in the country. However, another problem soon appears. As the train approaches a station near Busan, it is forced to stop. The tracks ahead are blocked by wreckage and debris. The conductor informs the remaining survivors that they cannot continue on the current train. He explains that another train is located on a nearby track. If they can reach it, they may still be able to get to Busan. He wishes them luck. To reach the other train, they must cross tracks filled with zombies. Without wasting any time, the conductor leaves the cabin and searches for a safe route. As he moves through the rail yard, he spots a cargo train. He climbs aboard and starts the engine. The train slowly begins moving toward Busan. Meanwhile, Seok-woo and the remaining survivors leave their train and begin making their way through the wreckage. After hearing the conductor's instructions, The remaining survivors begin crossing the railway tracks. Meanwhile, Yeon-suk manages to escape from the train as well. However, several zombies are close behind him, continue moving toward the cargo train. Suddenly, a burning freight car comes speeding down the tracks. The flaming train crashes violently into the surrounding rail cars. The impact separates Jin-hee and Young-guk from the rest of the group. Both of them are knocked to the ground. The wreckage creates a barrier between them and the others. Seok-woo's group is forced to continue forward. Unbeknownst to them, Yeon-suk is still being chased by an infected zombie. As Jin-hee and Young-guk struggle to escape, Yeon-suk reaches them. Instead of helping, he pushes Jin-hee toward the approaching zombie. She becomes a human shield for his survival. The zombie attacks Jin-hee. Young-guk desperately tries to save her. Holding her in his arms, he watches helplessly as the infection begins spreading through her body. Yeon-suk abandons them without a second thought. He forces open a train door and continues running toward the cargo train. As Jin-hee grows weaker, Young-guk breaks down in tears. He apologizes for never confessing his feelings to her. Moments later, the infection completely takes over. Jin-hee transforms into a zombie. The newly infected Jin-hee attacks Young-guk. Refusing to leave her side, he accepts his fate. The two are consumed by the tragedy together. Farther ahead, Yeon-suk twists his ankle while running across the tracks. A pursuing zombie catches up and bites him on the leg. The infection begins spreading through his body. At the same time, the conductor notices his situation. Trying to help, the conductor runs toward him. Instead of accepting assistance, Yeon-suk abandons the conductor. The conductor is left behind and overwhelmed by zombies. Yeon-suk boards the cargo train alone. Elsewhere, Seok-woo, Soo-an, and the homeless man become trapped beneath a train car loaded with zombies. On the other side of the wreckage, the train's windows begin cracking. The glass is moments away from shattering. Searching for a way through, Seok-woo discovers a small opening beneath the train. He crawls through first. Before the others can follow, part of the wreckage shifts and blocks the gap. At the same moment, one of the train windows breaks. Several zombies fall out and begin crawling toward the trapped survivors. Realizing there is no other option, the homeless man makes a heroic decision. He sacrifices himself to distract the zombies. His brave act gives Seok-woo enough time to clear the debris. It also allows Soo-an and Seong-kyung to escape. The two survivors reunite with Seok-woo. Together, they run toward the cargo train. The zombies chase them relentlessly. At the last possible moment, they climb aboard and leave the infected behind. Inside the train, Seok-woo discovers Yeon-suk sitting in the conductor's seat. By now, the infection has already begun transforming him. Seok-woo retreats and locks the door between them. However, Yeon-suk still retains enough awareness to unlock it. As he approaches, he begs Seok-woo to save him and take him to Busan. Seok-woo tells him the truth. He has already been infected. For a brief moment, Yeon-suk realizes what is happening. Tears fill his eyes. Seconds later, he completely transforms into a zombie. The infected Yeon-suk attacks Seok-woo. The two struggle violently inside the train. During the fight, they nearly fall from the rear platform. Hearing Soo-an's voice, the zombie is drawn toward her. Yeon-suk lunges in her direction. Seok-woo throws himself between them. As he pushes Yeon-suk away, he is bitten on the hand. Realizing he is infected, Seok-woo knows his fate is sealed. He throws Yeon-suk from the train. Then he leads Soo-an and Seong-kyung into the driver's cabin. Fighting back tears, he teaches them how to stop the train once they reach Busan. When he prepares to leave, Soo-an begs him to stay. She tells him she stopped singing during her recital because he never came to watch her. She had been saving the song for her father. The confession breaks Seok-woo's heart. He holds his daughter's hands one last time. Then, he gently lets go. Ignoring her cries, he seals himself outside the cabin. As the infection spreads through his body, he walks toward the rear of the train. Memories of Soo-an as a baby flood his mind. He remembers holding her tiny fingers and watching her smile. Those precious memories remain with him until the very end. Just before he fully transforms, Seok-woo smiles through his tears. Then he jumps from the train. The train continues toward Busan. Eventually, it reaches a tunnel near the city. A pile of debris blocks the track ahead. Soo-an and Seong-kyung leave the train and begin walking through the dark tunnel. Unbeknownst to them, soldiers are monitoring the area from the other side. Because of the darkness, the military cannot determine whether they are infected. A sniper receives the order to prepare for engagement. As the rifle is raised, Soo-an begins to sing. Her voice echoes through the tunnel. The song gives Seong-kyung the strength to keep moving. The soldiers listen carefully. They quickly realize the approaching figures are survivors, not zombies. The order to fire is cancelled. The military rushes forward to rescue them. At last, Soo-an and Seong-kyung safely reach Busan. They are the final survivors of the train to Busan.